Hello, everybody. Okay, I'm going to share this video real quick. All right. Let's see. Okay. All right, everybody. I hope you guys are doing well this evening. Hey, Shatanya. Am I saying your name right? Shatanya. Good evening, everyone. I was attempting to get some work done, but child, listen, technology has been acting crazy all day. So I just said, well, let me just go live and then I will call it a day. So, hey lady, how you doing? Hey, Leger, how are you? Good to see y'all. Okay, so if you guys want to tag some folk, you can. If not, that's fine. If you want to share this video, that's cool. Whatever you feel like. So you see the title of this this chat here. They give you butterflies, huh? So this was inspired by a gentleman who posted something, and then another guy commented on it about something to the effect of, you know, how women aren't really attracted to nice guys or guys that are good for them. Instead, they tend to go for the men that give them butterflies. And I'm like, that's not true, right? That's not true for every woman, okay? But I made a comment on there talking about what the butterflies actually signify. But before we get into all of that, I do want to make a couple of announcements. So the Mind Magic Institute is going to be changing its name to the Be Magic School. So that means that you guys will be, those of you who have already signed up for classes in the Mind Magic Institute, you're going to be receiving an email update with the new links so that you can still access your classes, okay? So look out for that. And what else? Oh, I'm going to wait on that. I'm going to wait on announcing that because I'm going to actually be sending out sending messages to specific people who have expressed to me in the past that they're interested in a specific service, because I only need 10 people for this, and it's going to be a year-long process. So I'll be reaching out to certain people to see if they're interested, okay? But so I won't make that a very public announcement. But then also I'm starting my VIP service again, because I had a couple of people ask about that. So that will be up soon. Actually, it'll be up by tomorrow is what I was trying to do tonight, child. But, you know, the computer won't let me be great, so it's okay. All right, so let's get into this. And I have my little champagne drink here. So, because it is the evening and it is time. It's time. It's 8 p.m. So anyways, the butterflies. So I know that we all have experienced that butterfly feeling somewhere in sometime in your life. You've experienced getting those butterflies when you dated somebody or you meet somebody, they super hot, or y'all just have this like amazing chemistry, and you get that little feeling in your stomach and you're just like, oh my God, I like this person so much, or I love him, or I love her. And I just get excited and nervous every time they come around, right? So the butterflies, the butterflies actually is a signal coming from your nervous system that is kind of giving you a red flag, okay? So this is part of the reason why most of the time, not all, but most of the time, those types of connections don't tend to last, right? They end up somehow being a little tragic, a little toxic, okay? And that is because that feeling in the gut is giving you the signal like this is danger, it's dangerous, okay? And I'm not saying that that's for every single situation, but probably 8 times out of 10 it is, okay? So it is your nervous system sending a signal that there is something that you need to be on alert for, okay? And usually, you know, about 90% of the population, we all got something that we need to deal with, right? We all got some undercover problems and some undercover things that, you know, are kind of hidden until we get into a relationship with somebody and it brings it to the surface. But we're usually attracted to the very thing that ends up bringing those reflections of what we need to fix within us, right? And it ends up bringing those things up 9 times out of 10, okay? So those little butterflies are actually your body telling you to go in the opposite direction, okay? But because we are naturally attracted to the thing that probably isn't going to be the best thing for us, but it actually is good for us, right? Because it helps us if we take advantage of the opportunity, that experience can be very helpful for us, okay? So I'm saying all that to say the next time you meet somebody and you get those little flutters in your belly, you know, and you're like, oh my God, he makes me feel like this, or she just makes me go crazy, she drives me crazy. It's for a reason, okay? It is for a reason. Hey, Erica. Hey, y'all. Absolutely. Yes. Yes, Leger. You should be feeling at peace when you meet a person. And listen, what I have found is usually the people that I'm not that attracted to. And it's not that they're not attractive, but it's like, I mean, I see how this goes. You know what I mean? I'll do it, but I ain't, you know, he don't give me no butterflies, right? But usually those are the people that I tend to have the best experiences with, even if it doesn't last, right? Because every relationship is not supposed to be the one, okay? Every relationship could be the one, right? That's really the truth. Every relationship could be the one. Every person that you meet could be the one. It just so happens that it depends on how we think about it, right? We are the creators, okay? So if we are being triggered in certain situations and those triggers cause us to spiral and start going down that path of thinking of how this isn't going to work out, this person isn't doing this and they need to be doing more of that, and how come I'm feeling this way? You know, it's the triggers that get us spinning out in those thoughts, and those thoughts create situations, and the situations are what ends up breaking up the union or the possibility of something being birthed between two people, okay? So every person could be the one, right? Depending on how we think about it and depending on, you know, how healed we are when we get into those situations. But usually, you know, if it's somebody that you're super duper 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 attracted to, oh, I forgot my cat was in the house, John. I just saw something jumping on, on the couch over here. Like, what is that? Usually for somebody that you're super duper into and they give you that little feeling, that's usually an indication that this is going to be, it's going to be an interesting situation. It's going to be a wild ride, okay? So just keep that in mind, all right? And that's not just with like love relationships or romantic partnerships or anything like that. That's also, you know, sometimes we get wowed and blown away by somebody that we see on stage, or somebody that we, want to, look at as a mentor, or just somebody who might be more charismatic. It could be a friend, it could be somebody, it could be somebody that you meet and you're just like, I just love being around this person, and they just do something for me, right? Eventually you may find that relationship may come to a screeching halt, because of that's a level of codependency, right? That's a level of codependency when we are looking towards this one person for something, or we need them in our lives in order to feel like we matter, or to feel like we're full or whole, right? Or they bring something and you just need them around you. That's a level of codependency. So if that person doesn't necessarily live up to our expectation, and they do something, and all of a sudden we just like, oh my God, why would they do that to me? Or why would they say that, or whatever? Now we're disappointed and we feel crushed, or our hearts are broken, or whatever. But really what it is we're mourning the loss of the expectation, right? We had all of these high expectations of this friendship blossoming, or this being a long-term connection, or long-term relationship with someone, and it ends, right? Because it's time for it to end. Something inside of us is like, okay, we got what we needed and now it's time to go, right? We're not really mourning the loss of that person or the loss of the relationship. We're really mourning the letdown of our own expectations. Like, we had high hopes for this thing working out and looking a certain type of way, and it didn't, and now I'm crushed, I'm disappointed. Okay. So just, pay attention to those feelings in the body, to those emotions, to those thoughts, and those attachments. Those are all attachments to things. Okay, those are all attachments. So if we're super attached to a person, a situation, an idea, a business, anything, like everything there should be a level of unattachment in everything we do and everything that we are associated with. You should not be attached to the home that you live in. You should not be attached to your family. You should not be attached to your pets, to your children. You know what I mean? Like, because sometimes that tight grip on something can put such a strong hold on it that you strangle it and you squeeze the life out of it. And that's how you lose it so quickly, because you're just so attached to it. That's usually what happens, right? Money. You notice the more you hold on to money, the less you have. Let it go. See what happens. If you find that you're getting too attached to a person, pull back a little bit. And that doesn't mean that you have to like stop calling and not be around them, but pull back energetically to the point where you are not in a harsh way where you're like, oh no, I gotta pull back so this person doesn't hurt me. It's like, wait a minute, I'm getting too attached to this, right? I'm starting to need it too much, or need them too much. And they're not being there now is affecting me. And now I need to pull back a little bit and look at why. Why is that affecting me? Why do I need it so much? Why am I afraid of losing it, right? And for everything, anything and everything. I watch a lot of parents do this to their kids. You know what I mean? And I'm like, woo. And you wonder why your kid is like, please, mom, please, dad, you know what I'm saying? Like, give me some space. You're strangling them, you're smothering them. Let them go. Let them do them, and trust. That's the major thing. The major thing is learning how to trust. And that's the other thing, like holding on too tight to stuff and just needing to have it and being attached to that feeling, right? Is an undercurrent of a lack of trust. I don't trust that I'm going to have it. I don't trust that it's going to be here. I don't trust that it's, never going to go away. I have done this exercise for many years where I have, and it may sound morbid, it may sound like, what? Why would you do that? But I used to like imagine losing the person that's the closest to me, right? I would imagine them dying. And that actually put myself in the situation so I could feel what that's like my whole body, all of my senses, everything. I will put myself in that situation just so that I can take myself through that whole process so that I am able to feel what it's like to have to release and let it go. Because this is why I will do that. A lot of people were like, if you never talk to that person again, you would be so sad if something happened to them. No, I won't. First of all, I know how to talk to other people. I know how to talk to people on the other side of the veil. So if somebody that I know that I haven't spoken to in a while, or maybe we had a falling out and they die, whatever, like, I'm not gonna be like, oh my God, I didn't get a chance to say goodbye. Last time we talked, I told them to kiss my ass or whatever, you know what I mean? It's like, no. First of all, I don't need to carry that type of heaviness and guilt on my shoulders for what, right? That's not helping anybody. Secondly, if I really want to talk to them, I know how to tap in on the other side and do that. So that's not a loss for me, right? But if you, and I'm not saying do this all the time. I'm not saying imagine your family members dying all the time, because we know thoughts create things, okay? You don't want to kill somebody because you keep thinking about them being dead, right? But what I mean, what I'm saying is allow yourself to kind of experience losing the thing that's the closest to you or the most precious to you, and how you would handle that. It doesn't mean that it's going to hurt any less. It just means that you're training the nervous system, you're training your heart space and your brain and your mind how to handle loss of any kind. So you're like working that muscle so that you're like, okay, when that happens, because it's inevitable, it's going to happen one day, right? When that happens, I know that I'm still going to feel it because I'm a human being and I love this person and we are connected. But at the same time, I don't have to get lost in the emotion. I do a lot of grief counseling. And so I watch people hold on to loss for like 20, 30 years, grieving for 20, 30 years, right? All because they don't know how to let it go and release. So for those of us that practice mentalism, or we're practicing it, or we're learning more about it, we're learning more about emotional intelligence and learning more about how to use your mind in highly beneficial ways and different situations and things like that, right? We can take these little exercises and we can start putting it into action for ourselves so that we can work that muscle and strengthen our mental agility and our emotional agility. It's very important to do that. Most people don't do that. Like we work out our muscles at the gym and we go work out and all of this stuff for our bodies, but we don't really work our emotional intelligent muscles, right? We don't work that out. We don't work out our mental muscle that much. We only use about 10% of our total mind power. That's a whole 90% that is not tapped into. So next time you get some butterflies, let's just bring it back to what we talked about, please, because I didn't went all around Robin Hood's barn, but that's okay. So whenever we feel those butterflies in our stomach, right? we can now say, well, wait a minute, what are you trying to tell me, stomach? You know what I mean? I know what society has told me what the butterflies meant, but I also understand my nervous system. And I know that that's a familiar sensory. That's something that the body is picking up like, ooh, ooh, we know what that is. We know what that is, right? That's not to say that you shouldn't have the experience. If you meet them for some, if they come into your life for some reason and you feel like you want to have the experience, you should have the experience. Just know what kind of experience you might be having so that you can use your mental energy to shift the dynamic of that experience instead of allowing it to kind of spiral out of control because you get triggered, because you done fell in love with this energy and this chemistry that is basically attached to a program from your past, right? You fell in love with that. You might have fell in love with the essence of your father or your mother or somebody who meant a lot to you, but they also hurt you deeply. Just saying. Okay. Maybe it's not even that. Maybe it's something that's passed down through, maybe it's something passed down through the DNA because the relationships can be affected by your lineage as well. Like if you come from a line of women who are always, you know, in really toxic relationships or toxic marriages and things like that, that type of stuff gets passed down through the bloodline. Okay, so that might be something else that we need to look at as well. It could be many things, but most people don't take the time out to sit and analyze that type of stuff. And it's important for us to start doing that, especially if you got a track record. If you got a track record of being in toxic relationship after toxic relationship after toxic relationship, man or woman, okay, whether it's romantic or platonic, it could be work related. I've watched people be in really toxic work environments. Like everywhere they go is toxic. It's a toxic work environment. And it's like, at some point we got to get down to the common denominator is that person that keeps having that same experience over and over again. So now it's time to understand why. Why am I having this experience? It's not because everybody is an asshole, right? It's not because I always work for, you know, mean bosses or people who make fun of me and pick on me. I remember I was working at this one place and everybody would pick on this one guy. And I was like, man, this is like high school, how they in here picking on him. But honestly, it was his energy. You know what I mean? It was his energy. He had the energy that said, come pick on me, come bully me, come fuck with me, right? So for me, it's like, of course, people shouldn't be bullying people, right? I'm not condoning that. But this is something else that I would recommend parents look at too. Like if your kid is getting picked on, now it's time to help that child. Instead of trying to get all of the other kids to fall in line and not pick on that kid, it's time to build that child up, build up their confidence, build up their belief in self, right? Because there's something going on there that is attracting that energy. Maybe it's the parent that passed something down, or the grandparents. It came from somewhere. You know what I mean? So we got to start looking at things beyond just the surface and what's right in front of us. But it was, you know, I felt bad for him, but I was just like, I used to sit right next to him, like, damn, that's fucked up. Everybody fucking with you like that. But really what it was his energy. There was a lot of people in that office, but everybody would pick on him. Why? Right? Why? I'm not saying he deserved it. I'm just saying it's just, you know what I mean? And these were grown people, grown adult people working in a professional environment, in a very well-known corporation. I'm not going to say the name of the company, you know, but I'm just like, yo, what? And at the time, I was just, I mean, I think I kind of knew. I was like, yo, you got bad luck. You know, I was just called a bad luck at that time because I wasn't as tuned in as I am now, right? But now I understand that that was an energy that he was putting out there that was attracting that. That was his magnet was spinning in a certain direction that was pulling in that type of energy so he could have that experience. Hopefully he has, you know, improved that by now. So anyway, what y'all talking about? Yes, honey, thoughts definitely create situations. I know I have totally created some situations for myself. Like, I created that, didn't I? Shit. You know what I mean? Because we got to think about that. If something starts off really well and then all of a sudden it goes sideways, you're like, what happened? Everything was going so well. What happened? What changed? 9 times out of 10, it was either my thoughts or yours or that other person's, right? Somebody allowed their thoughts to get away from them. It's the reason why, you know, it's the reason why we have such a high rate of divorce and why people can't stay in partnerships now is because we end up creating things from our wounds. We come up with storylines that we pull, like I said the other day, from memories of the past, and that's what's happening. That's why things can't last, because we're expecting it to fall apart anyway, or we start looking for it to fall apart. We're like, all right, everything been going well now. Let me see, it's been about 6 months. It's time to sabotage some stuff right now, right? But why? Why are we sabotaging it? Is it because we may think we don't deserve it deep down inside? Right? Or we just expect for it not to work out because it hasn't, we've seen evidence of that in the past. It just don't ever work out. So let me just wait for this shit to end because it's about to, right? What would happen if we were like, wait a minute, hold up. I'm about to sabotage this with my thoughts. I can create anything I want. I really can. You know, what if, have you ever heard of somebody being in an abusive relationship and then the abuser goes and is in another relationship with a total different person and does not abuse them? Have you ever heard of that? I have. A cheater will cheat 12 times over here on this woman and go to the next woman and be faithful and be like a little angel. Have you ever asked yourself why? People say, well, different people bring out different traits. I think it's because different people have different levels of expectations. That's what I think. Because everything is energy, right? If I'm very codependent and I enter into a relationship where I've attracted someone who might be narcissistic, or they're not, and this is everything. Everybody who has narcissistic traits are not narcissists. They're not full on diagnosed narcissists. I get tired of everybody using that word. It's like, you are not a doctor, you are not a licensed therapist, so you cannot diagnose somebody as a narcissist just because they have narcissistic traits. Everybody has narcissistic traits. Everybody has narcissistic traits. We live in a society that glamorizes selfies, making videos. Anybody can become a superstar now, right? Anybody can. All you got to have is some time and consistency, and you can make yourself a celebrity. So everybody has some narcissistic traits. All of us do. Okay. Nothing wrong with it. But when we go around just labeling everybody willy-nilly, oh, he's a narcissist, he did this, he said that he has narcissistic traits. And until his ass goes to a licensed professional and takes some assessment tests and do some psychological evals and is fully diagnosed as a narcissist, right? We can't just go around labeling everybody, because guess what? There are some empaths that have been deeply wounded that will have narcissistic traits because they absorb some of those narcissistic traits from the person that they were in a relationship who acted as the abuser. So they tend to take on some of those traits so that they can protect themselves moving forward. Like, that's just deep. We ain't gonna go all the way into that right now. But you got some empaths out here that we call narcissists. They're not narcissists though. So people throw that word around too willy-nilly. Why is it saying that this ended? Did it end for real? Let's see. No, it didn't. Okay. Child, this thing is crazy. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm sorry, y'all. This thing keeps doing this. I don't know why it keeps doing that. Yeah, okay. All right, cool. So yeah, so anyway, we throw that word around way too easily, in my opinion, without enough information and enough studying. Okay, so that's I'll leave it right there. But what the heck was I saying? I went all the way around Robin Hood's barn, y'all. I'm sorry. This is why I don't drink that often. But anyway, that's the reason why somebody can have a whole different experience with someone, right? And then leave them. They could be abusive and have narcissistic traits and qualities in one relationship, and then they go to another relationship and it's perfectly fine, right? Now, of course, on a spiritual level, it could be like they're soulmates, whatever, they're supposed to be together, all this other types of craziness, right? That we, whatever your belief system is around partnering, soul partnering, and things like that, right? It could be a lot of stuff, but underneath it all is really the level of expectation in that relationship from each party. If I expect to be treated well, if I'm used to being treated well, maybe I come from a family where I watched my mother and my father have a healthy relationship, right? So I'm used to seeing that, right? Then my level of expectation is different than someone who may have come from a household where it's been a lot of dysfunction and a lot of fighting, and maybe it was a broken home. Maybe there were not two parents in the household, or there were two parents in the household and it was an unhealthy situation, right? So my level of what I expect out of a union with somebody could be totally different. Also, how I feel about myself. Do I have codependent issues? And am I codependent? Am I coming into this relationship overgiving, overcompensating, and then expecting something in return? And when I don't get it back in return, it's a problem. Okay. So these are all of the things that I hope that we start looking at and paying attention to, especially before we start having, I know how women and men can be, because I've heard men, woman bash. I'm like, Come on, y'all. You know what I'm saying? Like that was your experience. That's not generalized things. Okay. That's just been your experience. And of course, you know, we listen to women male bash. But what if we just took time out to analyze our own experiences in each of these relationships and understand that from the very, very beginning of from the inception of the relationship, from the moment that we met each other, if I can track all the way back to when I first met this person, what were my thoughts? Not what did he say? What did he show me? What did he do? What were my thoughts about him when I first met him? Right? What were my expectations? What kind of pedestal did I put him on? Or not? Maybe I didn't see him as anything. Maybe I was just like, child, please, isn't it? Okay. What signals was my body and my mind and the little hairs on the back of my neck and the little voices that I hear sometimes, what were they saying to me when we first met and when we first started to get to know each other? In what ways did I ignore all of that? Because people don't just change overnight. No, we get those little signals. We have conversations and we hear the thing that goes off inside of us is like, oh, okay, I should probably exit now, right? But in what ways are we trying to make them fit the butterflies? Or maybe we're just too tired. We're so tired of dating and things not working out. I got to see, I'm going to try to make this work. I'm going to just try to make it work. Why? Why are we trying to make it work? Why are we trying to fit a square peg in a round hole? Unless you're supposed to, because I've been in situations where my spirit is like, it's not time to leave yet. No, this is not the one, but it's not time to leave yet. You still got some stuff to learn. So I'm in it knowing it's going to end at some point, but I need to get to that point where my inner guidance is like, now it's time to go. And I need to listen to that. When that happens, it's time for me to say, okay. Okay. So we got to learn, men and women, we have to learn how to truly tap in and discern between that voice of caution and danger that's creating stories that aren't real versus that inner guidance that's very, very sure. You know what I mean? It's not, and if you don't know what your voices sound like, one is very certain, one is like, no, not yet. Yes, now it's time to go. Sometimes they got to yell at you. Sometimes they do, because sometimes we are just not ready to hear the truth, right? And so sometimes they will yell, right? But it's not from a confused, keep questioning. If you got to keep questioning and questioning and questioning and questioning and questioning and questioning, first of all, asking the same question over and over and over again, what you're doing is you're creating by asking the same question over and over again. Ancestors, are y'all sure that he's the one? They like, yes. But by the time you asked for the 200th time within a 3-month time period, you are now putting out into your subconscious mind that he can't be the one because this, and this, and this, and this, and this, and this. And then you've created a whole situation where he like, you looked up and he out here dealing with this one and this one and that one. When before he wasn't. But you ask the question so many times from that space of insecurity, that space of expecting the worst, because it's too good to be true, waiting for the other shoe to drop. You just created a whole situation out of thin air. So trust is very, very big when it comes to relationships of any kind. And it's not trusting that it's gonna work out and we're gonna live together forever. It's just trusting the process. I trust the way, however this is gonna unfold, no matter what happens, wherever I land, I'm gonna be landed in the place that's 10 times better than where I am right now. I trust that I'm gonna be all right, that I'm gonna, come through this situation 10 times better than I was. That's what I'm trusting in. I'm not trusting a man. I'm not trusting a woman. I am trusting that whatever happens is all good. It really is all good. Even if I know I sat up here and created the shit. Okay, I created that. I just proved to myself that I am a badass manifester. Even if it's something I don't want to experience. I manifested it, I created it. Now I know that I have that kind of power. So now I will be more conscious of my thoughts. And then I'll play a little game. So the next time that happens, and the next time I catch myself asking over and over and over and over again, I'll be like, okay, hey, y'all said yes. Let's let this unfold the way it needs to unfold. Because that's really when we go to readers, or when we go to our own, do our own readings and our own divination on things, whatever that answer is, of course we have free will and we can change it, obviously, right? You can change it because your spirit's gonna be like, yes, 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 we told you, yes, this is good for you. Yes, this is gonna work. Just let it happen. Let it unfold naturally. But because of our insecurities and second guessing and not trusting, we just keep going back. I gotta ask again. I gotta find out again. I gotta find out. I don't know. But that's the insecurity shaking you out of the sureness of that answer that you already got. And they'll keep telling you the same answer over and over and over again. Even after you've sabotaged the situation, they'll be like, yeah, it was good for you. You know what I mean? But you ended it. That's how powerful we are. Listen, we create everything. There's not one thing that you don't create. There's not one situation that you don't have a hand in manifesting. It's not one. How you gonna give yourself credit for manifesting $12 million, right? But you won't give yourself credit for manifesting this person over here that knocked you over your head, right? Or these people over here talking crap behind your back. How did you not manifest that, but you manifested this over here? You can't pick and choose. You create everything. It's insanity to think otherwise, right? And I know that it can feel very daunting to be like, damn, because I know when I first realized I really do create everything, it was like, oh my God. Like I have to be so aware of everything. Like, yes, you do. Yes, you have to be very aware of all of your thoughts. Not fearful, but just aware. That's why I say make it a game. Turn it into like a game. When you feel yourself start going down that other road, just be like, all right, here I go. I'm about to do that shit again. Let's reel it back. Let's just focus on something else. Now, if you have a hard time staying focused on something else and your mind keeps getting pulled into the other direction, then it might be a deeper pattern. It may be something deeper that you need to go in and work on, because that's an indication. That is your that's something inside of you that's saying, hey, we know that you're trying to, pull yourself back into a positive mindset, but there's something here, right? There's something here that might cause you more trouble later on down the road if you don't look at it right now. So that's why we keep letting it come up to the surface so that you can pay attention to it and deal with the core issue. Because see, some stuff you just like, well, let me just turn my mind off of that and focus on here and you'll be fine, right? But if you keep going back over and over and over again and having the same experience over and over and over again, that's when it's time to do the deeper work. Okay. All right. Hey, y'all, what's up? All right, y'all. Well, I'm about to get off of here now. How long have I been on here? Oh, I've been on here for 46 minutes. Okay. But I love you guys. I hope y'all are having a fantabulous Wednesday night. I just wanted to hop on here and drop this little message because I thought that was a really interesting conversation that we were having on Facebook about the butterflies. But yeah, that's, they have a whole song about it. I love that song. You Give Me Butterflies by Floetry. So, I mean, Michael Jackson, Floetry, whatever, they wrote it. But anyway, that's a great song, but can we say toxic? Can we say toxic? Hey, Marion. Hey, Katrina. So I won't even call it toxic. I'll just call it a signal. Okay. Okay, good. Good. Yeah, I like to give y'all these little hacks, these little mental and emotional hacks, because they help. You know what I mean? They really do help. We hear people all the time telling us that, you need to change your mindset and you need to, but nobody really gives you tools to do that. You know what I'm saying? Not that I know of. I do hear a lot of people say, you need to change your mindset. And I'm like, yeah, but how do you do that? You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. And when do I know when I need more help, deeper help? Because I can try to redirect my thoughts and take it in another direction. But if I keep coming back to the same thing, then that means that there's something else there. Something is trying to pull my attention to something else. I don't know what that something else is. I can't identify it, or I can identify, but I don't know how to break free from it. Okay. And sometimes we can do it on our own, but sometimes you need some help. Just saying. I know there have been times when I have definitely needed help. And there will be more times when I need help, because the healing process does not end. It doesn't end. It happens in layers. It's not linear. It's not like, oh, I healed all of my childhood issues. You healed that one aspect, that one little piece. Yeah, you did. Good job. But so you don't know what else needs to be healed until you go into the next phase of your life and you start tapping into other sectors of your life. That's when you will know. Oh shit, I need to work on this. But when you have a healing plan put in place, right, then you already have all of these tools at your disposal, right? That's why I love when I hear my clients say, man, I got all of these tools. I'm so excited that we've been working together because now I have tools. I got things I can pull out the bag. You know, if something goes down, when something happens, I can go to this thing right here and I know that it works, and it works every time. And it helps me get to the bottom of this thing where I can just keep moving forward now. And it is not going to take me 6 months to do it. I usually end up going through the hell. Me personally, I go through the hell. I work myself out of the hell, or I go get help if I need it. And then I bring it back to the community. So that's how it goes. And if you are in the helping business, you are a helper, meaning you help people heal, because I'm not healing y'all. I don't heal nobody. I heal myself, and then I glean the information that I've learned, and then I teach it. And if you decide to implement it and put it into action, it will help you heal too, will help you heal yourself. Okay. But all of us who are doing that, all of us, whether you are a reader, a Reiki healer, energy worker, you working with the different deities and things like that to help heal people, however you assist on this planet, whatever your mission is, all of us, we tend to go through, even if you don't know that you are a helper, this little gnat flying around in here, even if you don't know that you're a helper yet, if you go through a whole hell of a lot of stuff, if you go through a lot of painful situations, right? A lot of levels of ascension, 9 times out of 10, your job is to help somebody. If you have experienced a lot of sickness in your life, or just a lot of abuse or disappointment or something like that, right? 9 times out of 10, you made an agreement to come here and help others. So we tend to get it real heavy. Like we tend to get slapped down because we made that agreement. And we get slapped down because that's our school, that's our initiation, that's our graduation, right? And we're like, all right, they like, all right, you done graduated, now to go out there and help somebody else who's dealt with that, who is dealing with that, so that you can teach them how to move through it faster, right? But we give it to you because we know you can handle it. We know that you will survive it. You'll live to tell about it. So I did not choose to do this work. I did not choose to do this work. Please believe me, I was in the music industry, and then I was in the food industry, but I did not choose to do this. This was something that straight up fell in my lap, like totally. I'm not gonna say by accident, because nothing is by accident, but it was not something that I was like, I'm gonna go be a hypnotherapist, or I'm gonna, heal people. I knew that was something I was supposed to be doing, but I was just like, I really feel like doing all of that. Nobody feels like doing this. Nobody, I don't know nobody who feels like doing this. Like doing this. I love doing it. Right? I do. I love doing it. But it's not something that I always feel like doing. Okay. This is not easy. It's not an easy road. It's just not easy. But anyway. Oh, good, Elizabeth. I'm glad to hear that, y'all. Okay, I'm gonna get off of here now because I think I'm gonna take me a nice hot bath. Okay, I don't know what that is. But anyway, I hope this is helpful for you all. So please feel free to share it. Also, I am, like I said before, I'm starting my VIP program again. So it's a year long. You will get 4 sessions a month. You get an assessment, an onboarding assessment. You get 4 sessions per month with me. You also will be getting digital assignments in between the sessions as well. And you get an automated progress report every month just to kind of follow, how you've been doing and where you started from and where you are right now. Okay, and then there's a whole, and then you get access to me via text messages as well. Okay, so that program is $15,000 for the year. So if that's something that you're interested in doing, then it will be up on the website, and then I'll send emails and stuff. It'll be in the newsletter because we're getting ready to revamp the newsletter. It'll be in the newsletter. You'll get emails about it. And of course, I'll be promoting it online and stuff like that. Okay. Because I've gotten about 3 requests for, a VIP program where people can have more access and just be constantly doing the work because, people have a lot of things that they want to uncover and that they want to work on one after the other. And they're just like wanting to get that done like that. Okay. So if you or someone may be interested in that kind of intensive work, I'll be putting it out over the next couple of days. All right. All right, y'all. Have a great night. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.